So, hello everyone. Today I want to talk about why people go back to the abusive partners. So, it's a quite lengthy thing to discuss, but please stay on the entire video to understand it better. So, it is a common problem I think that every one of us are majorly facing often in the current generation. The reason is every one of us, or might be most of us, are having some emotional gaps or parts of our heart which needs to be filled or cared or healed. And without properly healing that, we just walk into the real world and then we try to find the love. What happens is most of the times our frequencies of internal emotional inefficiencies will rightly attract the people of that frequency. If I am supposed to be suffering with some emotional problem, the partner that I will attract will be the exact frequency, exact range of person who is suffering with the same problem. So now what will happen is there are mostly two type of people. Okay, one type of person is the one who treat the world in the way that they are treated, and the second type of person is the one who treats the world in the way that they are supposed to be treated in the past. So that's the difference. What will happen is in the abusive relationships, even though the frequencies are perfectly matching, sometimes what will happen is here comes the person who is suffering in the abusive relationship. And why this person is suffering in the relationship, I'll tell you. So this person is trying to treat the world in a way that they are supposed to be treated, but this person is trying to treat the world in the way they are treated. For example, this person, let us say this person is A, irrespective of the gender, name or anything, let us say A and B. So what will happen is A is the person who is causing trauma to the person B in an abusive relationship. Why this person will cause an abusive, why this person will cause all the trauma? At the first of any relationship, there is a phase called as honeymoon phase. What will happen is until a certain point of time, these two person will be behaving in such a way that they are made for each other, uh, balancing their inequalities, and certainly they are meant to be each other. So they appreciate each other broken parts, and they offer an emotional support for which each of the other person become emotionally dependent on each other, and their bonds eventually grows. Okay, and after a certain point of time where all these butterflies are gone, so this is the exact point where the toxicity will start in a relationship. I'll tell you clearly. So this is a three-step thing. Okay, let me come from the point one. So this point one is, I name it as an illusion of love. So what will happen at this point is, until this point, this A and B are met and in a relationship and in a quite good understanding with each other, everything is done. So after that, what will happen is there is a cycle of process which will be on a loop in a abusive relationship. What will happen is there is a tension building phase, and there is a occurrence of some abusive things that will happen, and there will again be a peaceful phase, and this will keep on repeating. So what will happen? For suppose a person is there who wants to control the other person's actions. So most often what will happen is we judge other people based on their actions but not understanding their intention. So what will happen is this person A will try to control the person B's action without understanding what actually the intention of person B. Okay, so this is the tension building phase, and after that tension building phase, when B is also not able to understand that A is trying to control their action but is not actually understanding their intention. So B what will do, will try to guard or defend, and then some kind of clash will happen. After that, again that will result in some kind of emotional trauma after that, because why A is not able to understand, because B is not also might some in some cases, not every case, in some cases B is not able to communicate properly in the way that A will understand. So the difference in understanding or trying to make the people understand is actually causing a gap of communication. And since A is also having certain insecurities and certain fears, and B is not able to understand that, so he will try to wrongly communicate or wrongly introduce the trauma into the life of B to control. Because of the fear of losing, people can make person A behave weirdly, and this will be the first phase in an abusive relationship. And this is the phase where mostly, even though it is an abusive relationship or a toxic relationship, but in this phase itself, if people are mutually matured, they can fix the relationship and make their life happy. So what will happen is, after all this in between the cycle of traumatic events or an abusive event, so why people stick on here is because of the partner's assurance of emotion or apologizing. I even saw people touching their feet. I mean, I don't understand it, but still, coming to the point, offering a change and emotional availability. So these kind of things, what will create is, they create a hope in the person that is going through the trauma, and that is the reason they still stick on in that abusive relationship at the level 1. But mostly, if both the people are matured here, this is the phase where people can actually fix their bond and lead a happy life. But here people fail. I am going to explain you now. So after this phase 1 of illusion of love, the second phase is, I call it as a trauma bonding stage. So what will happen? So we know this person A is causing all the trauma to the B, and somewhere internally, for person A also, this person knows that he or she is causing the trauma. But the problem is, this person is very egoistic, that they don't want to take the blame. They are not in a stage to even accept any questions, or even trying to understand, are they in a situation where they are creating problem for their partner. They are very egoistic. They don't want to understand or acknowledge or accept their mistake. So what will happen? So this person will try to inject the blame into the person B. Even though this person is the victim, but still the person A will try to inject all the blame. Because of you this is happening. If you haven't done this thing, I wouldn't have reacted in that particular way. You should have mind yourself. You are not minding about the relationship. You are not thinking about how I would react if you are doing certain things. All this kind of blame, this person A will try to inject into the person B. So what will happen? Person B is already trying to treat the world in which they are supposed to get treated, right? For example, if I was not treated with kindness either in my childhood, or in a traumatic phases, or some people, sadly, I show my empathy to them, but some people will face many physical abuses, or some kind of toxicity in their childhood. So what will happen at that point of time? They wouldn't had gone through any emotional support or emotional availability by their family and all. So what will happen is, this person will decide to treat the world in a way that they are supposed to be treated in the childhood. Now, when this person A, whom this person B is in love with, is imposing all the blame into this person B, so this person will think, okay, I would also be a reason for someone's anger, right? So let me take the blame and let me try to change this person by offering compassion, empathy, and all. But a person who is blinded with ego, how can they see the love? If you are so if you are so blinded with hatred, you can't see the love. That is the fundamental thing that everyone has to acknowledge. And what will happen after injecting all the blame? So again, there is a cycle of repeating things. Like, what will happen, even though this person is not supposed to take all the blame, this person B will try to inject it, and he or she they themselves will offer some kind of understanding or empathy, or even will try to heal, or some these kind of thing. So there is a confusion environment. Sometimes they inject the blame, and the other time they themselves will act as no matter how many fault you are, I'm trying to help you, I'm here for you, like that. And this cycle over a time will completely make this person be get confused about themselves itself, and they try to lose, they tend to lose the clarity on themselves. They start to think, okay, they are not good enough or worthy enough of receiving the love. And this is the point exactly where there are chances that people again start to go back to their abusive partners, because they think they are not deserving love. And they think whenever the kindness and empathy is being offered by this person B is trying to make them feel comfort, because ultimately no one wants to be in no one wants to be in a state of mind that they are causing some problem to their partner, right? If today I think, okay, my partner told me that my behavior is causing them a problem, and tomorrow that person comes and tells me it's okay, but still I'm there for you, I feel little comfort. And when this happens over time, I look this person A as the source of healing rather than the source of actual causing the trauma. This person A causing a trauma, but I am confusing that this person is causing or is a source of healing for me. And that is the phase where actually this person goes back into the loop of getting connected with this person, of creating a trauma. And the third phase after this trauma bonding is a deep state of self-blame or a low self-esteem, I would say, because the phase 1 and phase 2 are creating so much guilt, I mean unnecessary guilt or cautionless guilt into the person who is going through the trauma in an abusive relationship. And because of this low self-esteem, they are thinking that they don't deserve love or they don't find love beyond the relationship. Trust me, I have seen people who literally suffer to the severe level of physical abusement, or they don't communicate it with anyone because they fear judgment from the society, or fear of getting corrected, or fear of being told that you are actually wrong. No matter what mistake we are trying to do, sometimes our mind is not ready to accept or acknowledge that, hearing that we are wrong, we should not be doing certain things in certain way. And that is the problem, where they see the abuser or the person who is trying to create trauma as the only source of feeling comfort. That will close all the boundaries. And as of now, what I told is the pattern or the process of how abusive relationship look like. And each internal component, when they are associated with a person who is having low self-esteem or who thinks that they are not good enough or worthy enough, eventually go back to the same loop of getting abused and taking all the tension onto them. So what I would suggest is that I know it is very painful to come out of it, and trust me, it will take a lot of time to actually understand what is going wrong in the relationship. And there will be a phase where we can't go and communicate with someone else because we can't communicate what we are going through. And why we can't communicate is because we don't know what we are going through. That will be the phase, because the partner is creating so much confusion into the environment. Sometimes they become extremely available, sometimes they become comforting so much emotionally, and there will be a time where this person will completely vanish, and all this kind of toxic behavior. So they themselves lack a clarity of what they are going through, and that is the reason they can't communicate it with anyone. Consider anyone. When I say anyone, it might be parents, it might be friends. I had seen my close friends who are not even able to tell me what are they going through, and they can't even tell me why they are going back. I was in a situation multiple times where I had to use a lot of cognitive behavior therapy patterns to understand what they are going through and what is the core reason for their suffering, and then help them to understand. And after they understanding what is actually going wrong in the relationship, that realization was the first step for their emotional enlightenment. At that point they realized, okay, these are the things that are creating problems for me. And after that they start to heal. So that's the thing. So this is going very lengthy. I didn't knew that explaining all these things will take so much of time. But a quick suggestion that what I can give for the people who are going back to the partners, or the first step is, please sit down, take a paper and pen. I honestly tell you, even though you are not able to go to a therapist or take a professional help, go and sit down, start journaling, write down everything. You might be thinking that I don't know where to begin, but once you sit and start writing down, there will be many things that you haven't even thought of will be coming and writing it down, because your subconscious mind will communicate it very efficiently. Once you get a clarity of what is actually going on, realization is the first step towards enlightenment. This is my personal quote, I'm again quoting it here. So realization is the first step towards enlightenment. Once you realize, at this point you have to start self affirmations that you deserve love, you deserve a better treatment, you deserve a better emotional available person, you deserve a person who treats you the way that you are supposed to be treated. That is very very important. Please note this point with a yellow highlighter or anything, but please acknowledge it and register in your mind. And then you start developing some self confidence, or start becoming very self secure. Look what you can accomplish alone, achieve alone, and what you can inspire to others. At that point your self esteem will start to grow, and then you need not go back. I mean, you will, trust me, you will not go back to the abusive relationship partner at that phase. And at this moment of healed version of you, you will, your frequencies will go so much higher that you will attract the right person into your life. Not this traumatic person, but actually the person that you deserve will come into your life. That will happen, trust me. And this entire phase you are supposed to do it alone. After realizing the entire phase you are supposed to do it alone, please don't go back into or please don't get into any rebound relationship. What does it mean? To forget what happened in a failed relationship. Sometimes people get in immediately after breaking up, they get immediately into a different relationship. Please don't do that, it will create more problem. Why, I can't explain in this video, because it is already 15 minutes. So please try to understand and do everything on your own, trust me on that. After that you will attract person of your frequency, of what your life deserve, trust me. And if you want this video to be there even in future, where you want to, if at any point of time you just want to recollect or look back, please let me know in the comments or DM me, because I will think of possibly posting it on YouTube, or I don't know, Instagram Reels or Facebook TV, I don't know, but I'll figure out a way if you think this entire story sequence is helping you. And thanks for the time and listening very patiently. I know half of you would have been dropped by this time, but if you are going through, please remember, I'm always there to understand you or feel you, and make you feel little comfortable with my conversation. I'm always okay for that. Stay happy.